Hey y'all, welcome back to TJ's Modeling Bench. There's recently been a couple of questions brought up in the community, and I'm going to try to answer those here. Initially, I wasn't going to do a video response to these. I have already done a couple of written comment responses to those that posted these videos, or that posted these questions in video. Sorry, a little tongue tied there. And I've tried multiple times in the last 7, 8 days since I saw the questions being posed to try to create a video. I start getting a little long-winded and off-topic, so hopefully this time I can get this done without getting off track. So the first question comes from Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop, and his question stemmed from a podcast that he was watching where they were also discussing a very similar topic, and that is, how does modeling, probably specifically our genre of modeling, plastic modeling, how does it affect your mental health? And I will say for me, it's very helpful to me. I was diagnosed in 1998 with major depressive disorder. I was going through a fairly ugly divorce. As a result of my depression, I was also, as a result of the depression, it led me to a failed suicide attempt. The marriage falling apart was a big factor in that, but even before that, there were things in my service time that were affecting my mental health for the worst, and I wasn't aware of it really. So after my attempted suicide, I spent several months in the hospital at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was originally assigned to the B-2 bombers at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. So after learning some coping mechanisms and getting some medication initially, I was medically discharged from service after being just shy of 9 years on active duty. My divorce happened during that period of time where I was in the hospital. My ex remarried very soon after that. Her and our 2 children, who were very young at the time, and her new husband and his 2 children, who were roughly the same age as our kids. He was in the Air Force as well. They had orders to Alaska, and that's where they've been for the last 26 years. So I learned some coping mechanisms, and I did pretty well with what I had learned, and I learned what things can have a negative impact on me and my mental health. And I did really well for 24 years. So a couple of years ago, some things were going on, and 4 years ago I got laid off from a job that I really liked and had very good income from. Struggled to find work that I enjoyed and fit me. A couple years ago, I found a job I thought was going to work out for me. It was a departure from anything I'd really done before. Friends of mine who owned this business thought that I would be well suited for it. Turns out I really wasn't. I never felt as comfortable in the position as I felt I should have been. And I was getting very close to a female. We had a very strong friendship. My feelings were getting much stronger. Turns out hers weren't. And that impacted me in a negative way. So a lot of things combined there. I missed some signs and signals that things were not going well for me mentally. And I found myself at the end of my rope again, literally. So I spent some more time in a facility I was talked into. Thank God, I suppose. I was talked into checking into a facility through the VA. And now I'm permanently on medication. I also was diagnosed, in addition to my major depressive disorder, with anxiety. So now I take medicines for that. Thankfully, once I got out of that facility, a couple of months had gone by, and I was able to find new work that I really do enjoy. Does not pay nearly as well as the job I had 4 years ago, but I get by. So that said, my hobbies kind of took a hit from all that, because I used to do RC airplane modeling. I used to build the aircraft, fly them. I probably got more enjoyment out of the building portion of it than the flying, because I'm just not as well coordinated as a lot of the guys that I know. But it's also a very expensive hobby, and I couldn't really pursue it like I wanted to anymore because of the expense. But also it's very dependent upon weather. It's also dependent upon having a decent field to fly at. Generally a club, not always necessarily. It was just too much. I just couldn't keep doing it. My hobby space here was built with that in mind, of building RC airplanes. So I had this space. I had all the tools. I just didn't really have the money to do it like I used to. So I thought, well, I still need a creative outlet. I got to have something to get away from stressors that might be work, which luckily in this case it's not work really. Work is good for me. But there are other outside factors that can affect my mental health negatively, as I'm sure it can do for others. So I decided that, hey, you know what? I've done plastic model building in the past. I still had a few kits actually stashed away in a closet. In fact, the Quality Care NASCAR kit, I don't know that you can see it up there. I actually bought that right before I got out of the service in '98. So that one's been sitting around for a while untouched. I was primarily an airplane guy. I bought that NASCAR kit. To be honest, I'm not even sure why I bought it. It's still in the original wrapping. I'm a casual NASCAR fan. I don't really follow particular drivers close. I don't follow the season all that close. So it's really a bit inexplicable as to why I even bought it. But I have it. Well, the job that I picked up a couple years ago, so I'm around automotive parts and automotive-minded people all the time, and as a result of that, I kind of transitioned into being a little bit more of a car guy. So I do a little bit of everything. I also have HO model train stuff. I was working on a small switching layout when I had a roommate move in with me, and she occupies that spare bedroom where I had that layout that I was working on. So in order not to be in her way, that is now taking a back burner until the time comes that she finds her own place to live. But I'm okay with that. I've got plenty of plastic modeling to do. But like I said, it's good for my mental health. It helps me block out any negatives going on in my life. And a lot of the times I'll sit up here with some music going on, and just hours will pass. I won't even realize how much time has passed when I'm up here. I don't keep track of it. I usually get home from work about 5:45ish, close to 6 o'clock, get cleaned up, get dinner, maybe watch a little TV with my roommate, and then I come upstairs, and I used to try to get to bed by 9:30 at the latest, because I get up fairly early in the morning. And here lately, I've been looking over at like 10:30 when I realized, oh my gosh, I need to get to bed. I need to get out of this shop for a little bit. but it does work for me. So yeah, hobbies, any hobby, and a hobby. What is a hobby? It's a pursuit of something that you find enjoyment in, that's outside of your occupation, outside of anything else. It's a place. It gives you something and a place to go to where you can just kind of zone out from everything else for a while and focus on one thing. And hobbies can be many things. My aunt is an avid reader. Book reading is her hobby. Other people, hunting, fishing. I also own and ride a motorcycle. I find a lot of enjoyment in that, although I don't have as much time off as I used to. My old job, I used to work a week on, week off, so I had a lot more time available to me to just spend a day on the motorcycle. I don't have that much time anymore, and because I am single, my roommate and we are not romantically involved in any way. But because I'm single, I have a lot of household stuff that I have to do. Things that maybe someone who's married or has a significant other that they're living with, they can share those responsibilities. I can't do that. So I don't get as much bench time as I would like to have. And then I added doing the YouTube channel, which takes some of that time away as well. Which leads to the next question. And that question was presented by Paul at Left Coast Model Car Builds. And his question was, does your hobby, this hobby, does it ever feel like work? And I can say, thankfully, absolutely not. Now, there are times when it can be frustrating, and there are times when it almost can feel like a chore, because I have to motivate myself sometimes to get up here in the shop and do something. I have a very bad habit of sitting down in front of the TV and not doing anything. And I've gotten better about that in the last 3 or 4 months since I started this YouTube channel, because I feel like I need to be up here more. So that has actually helped. Now adding the YouTube channel, that can feel like a chore because it's a bit of a slow process. I record using my iPhone, and then I edit on my laptop using CapCut, which is a free, the version I use is a free online version. You can pay for the pro version, which I didn't really see a necessary need to purchase it, but it works for me, this free version. But it's a slow process. I don't know if it's so much my laptop, because I've got a fair amount of memory available on it. I had it built specifically for doing photography work that I don't do anymore. But it lags. It takes some time to get through clips and build a video. So yeah, that can be a chore, because I try to do a video a week. Some guys are doing even more than that. And even a video a week is hard for me to do. So I'm trying. But yeah, so those are my answers to those questions. Like I said, initially I wasn't going to do a video response to it, but I felt like, it was on my mind the whole week. I thought, yeah, you know what? I probably should anyway. Maybe somebody can relate to what I've been through and still struggle with. Thankfully, medication helps that a lot. But yeah, what does it do for you? What does this hobby do for you and your mental health? How does it affect your mental health? And does it ever feel like a job? Gosh, I hope not. If your hobby feels like a job, you probably need to find a new hobby. So I mentioned when I come up here, I usually have a radio on, actually online radio station while I'm working, and when I'm recording for you, I mute it so I don't get into any copyright issues on YouTube. But I'm curious, if you listen to music in your shop, and if you do, what style or genre of music do you prefer? In my case, of course, I kind of, came into my teens in the 80s, and I'm a big fan of 80s music, and a big fan of rock and roll in general. But when I'm up here, I actually listen to a lot of the golden oldies, stuff that my parents listened to. My dad especially loved early rock and roll. And there's a radio station out of Gulfport, Mississippi, 100.9 is WGCM. So it's Gulf Coast music for the car guys that come down here once a year in October. They do the Cruising the Coast event. All the classic automobiles show up, hundreds, if not thousands, across the coast. And this radio station kind of caters to that genre of music, and I love it. It really puts me in a good mood while I'm sitting up here working on stuff. So that's my question to the community. What kind of music do you listen to? All right, so take it easy, friends. Take care of yourselves. If you ever need to talk to somebody, reach out. Whether it's me through YouTube, or you can find me on Facebook. And if you need serious help, there are other free options out there. But don't hesitate. Don't keep it bottled up. If you're struggling mentally, get some help. Don't go where I did. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys stick around. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Peace and love, y'all.